there's certainly a lot of learnings from working through that GFC period. From our perspective, one absolutely critical aspect was you can't ignore the travel and the verification process offshore. I think during that period, a lot of companies closed up and sort of pulled back costs and looked at travel as a cost centre. I mean, our view is that our travel is actually an investment into our research and investment into performance. So a good example would be in the US during the GFC. Obviously, housing starts came off quite materially. I think they went from about 1.6 million down to, I think, bottomed out at around 400,000. And one of our directors at the time was covering James Hardie. James Hardie makes all the sideboard for housing. And so clearly very leveraged to the GFC and leveraged to housing starts. So what happened with that was that we made a beeline to the supply chain over a number of quarters in order to understand what was happening in that area. And the news was bearish. I mean, it was disastrous. But what was interesting was that on one of those trips, the news was less bad, and it's that delta between those data points is actually critical for us. It's actually understanding and synthesising whether the discussions we're having has shifted, and he could pick up that the discussion around the home builders over there and suppliers over there was actually it was bad, but they were still starting to look at the next 3 months out, which wasn't happening the data point before. So I think that's a really unique sort of situation that we found ourselves in, because we didn't actually take a back foot step from the travel process. The direct outcome for that sort of insight is literally we know that the market milestone or the catalyst for James Hardie is likely to be more positive going forward. So we can have more conviction in actually upping our weight in the position in James Hardie. So obviously all the way down as housing starts are falling, it's like catching a falling knife. But if you've got a feel for when that bottoming has occurred, then that provides you with a bit of a stepping stone towards where things can turn, and obviously from that, understanding where sort of value can get to.